Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So I've just done a video sort of looking at the same thing, actually using this same database, and this is just a sort of follow-up video based around a graph. So the problem with this sort of data, so this is the token price of various sort of projects over various timeframes. So I've just basically updated it all to see what happened over 2022. So we can look here on this column and we can see the performance of various tokens over the year, obviously in pretty much every case apart from one. In fact, the tokens went down a lot because that was just what happened to crypto in 2022. So we can see Gala, the Gala token was down 96%, and the Axie token was down 93%. Magic, you get the idea. But the other interesting thing I was looking at was this is what happened in 2021. So obviously we sort of have a good year and then a bad year, or a very good year and a very bad year, however you want to say it. But the Gala token actually went up 30,000%, and the Axie token went up 18,000%, and the Magic token went up almost 6,000% in 2021. So I thought it might be interesting, not for all these tokens because some of these are quite obscure, but for some tokens I thought it might be interesting just to have a look at what that looks like on a graph. So that's what we're going to have a look at. So I've not plotted all of these, I've just highlighted sort of some of the ones that have done that are down this end of the graph. So what I've done here is on the horizontal scale, this is 2021, this is 2020 to 2021, the performance of those tokens. So you can see this is actually a log scale. So it basically goes from nothing happening to up 10% to up 100, doubling to 1,000% to 10,000%. So we have these sort of slightly crazy situations that just happen when we have speculative inflows to crypto. So we have Gala and Axie, as we just seen, is exactly the same data. So the same sort of tokens here. And I basically looked at everything pretty much over 1,000%. So all these highlighted ones here did over 1,000% in 2021. Ghost, which is the Aavegotchi token, did 500%. But I highlight that because it was sort of interesting on the other scale. So on the vertical scale, we have the performance in 2021-22, so the year we've just had. And obviously, we can see everything is down at least 50%. So Ghost was down 56%, I think. And Magic was down 77%. And then we have a lot of these. Basically, pretty much everything was down at least 90%. So pretty much all these dots. For the ones we don't know, but even for the ones we do know. So Gala was down 96%. Axie was down 93%. Mana was down 91%. What else? I mean, it's to go through them. So we've got Wax, the Wax blockchain, Sand, the Sand token, ILV for Illuvium, ICE is for the Descent Games, which is in the casino within Decentraland. WeMix is the gaming blockchain from WeMade, the South Korean company. Engine Coin, I mean, that's been around since 2017. Now doing sort of stuff on Polkadot Ultra, the sort of Steem on blockchain platform. So these are sort of the interesting sort of ones from the point of view of 2 years ago they did super well. So they all did about 1,000% performance. So if you'd got in at the right time and sold out at the peak of the market, you would have done 1,000%. And then what happened during this year is pretty much all of these, with a few exceptions. I mean, none of them have increased from their performance at the start of January 2022, because that was like a peak for most of those. I mean, the peak was actually in November, December for most of them, but January was still pretty high, and all of them have fallen by at least 90%. So you just sort of get this, you start to get an idea of sort of the upside and the downside of what happens in crypto. And now it is interesting that I would say for some of these ones, if you're going up 1,000%, going down 90% is, you are still up sort of quite a lot. So some of these, most of these tokens are up still fairly substantially from the initial price, and that's a difficult thing. It could be an IDO. I mean, some of these had special sort of looking at the special prices that they gave to their private investors. So that's not something that's open to the public. But I still think you get a gist here of just how volatile the market is. But I think for I'm not saying all these tokens, and it's certainly not investment advice, but for certain projects that can gain scale, there is more upside than downside. So a lot of these ones here, didn't go up very much. They went up, 10%, and then they went down 100%. So basically everything I've not sort of highlighted is basically, has gone to pretty much gone to zero, or will go to zero. I'm not saying all these ones won't go to zero. Some of them clearly will still go to zero if they can't find sort of product market fit, and if they can't, if they don't have people using them over time, then clearly interest will go away. But it is interesting that I think these sort of projects here, some of these clearly have got to the stage now where they've got like a few years of sort of road map, runways, we say, in terms of capital. They've got sort of built teams. I guess Axie is the most obvious one. They have like a good sort of team of 150 people now making various games, and they have their own blockchain. Similar for Gala, they have this whole publishing model. And these are projects that are not going away anytime soon. They may go away in 5 years' time. Who knows? But it is interesting that I always kind of think in my own head with a lot of the sort of crypto blockchain projects, that what those projects are trying to do is create something from nothing. They're trying to create a digital asset, whether it's an NFT or a token. And basically, they are inventing that. They are inventing their own money, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do, because to invent money, you have to sort of have a community that really wants that money. They have to have a way of sort of, that sort of a product that actually requires that, a good product that people don't just want to get rid of the money when it goes up and sell out. So these are people, in terms of these projects, they have sort of, I think they have sort of a certain level of commitment, and I guess it'll be interesting to see over 2023 how can they grow that, or are the sort of the communities around these not being able to grow, and so the price will continue to decline. And so, not investment advice. I don't know. I don't have any particular insight that you wouldn't have if you just kind of followed these people on Twitter and played the games. But I do find it interesting that I think these are the ones that have created something from nothing, and I'm sure there'll be new ones in 2023. That is a very, very difficult thing to do. There is a very small percentage of these that will actually make it. But that's what these projects are trying to do. They are trying to create something from nothing, and we've never really seen game projects try and do this before, because they haven't been required to create a currency or something that is a community value that has to basically rely on the community for its value, rather than rely on the fact that it's FIFA and EA Sports and next year there's going to be another game, sort of thing. So it's a very difficult business model that these people are trying to build, but interesting to try and look at the data around this and try and at least have an idea of which projects are somewhere along that road. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. See you again soon.